Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be talking about why you should not lose weight and what you can do in return. So let's get into the video. So the way most people measure weight loss is by hopping on a scale and looking whether or not they have lost a few pounds in the last few weeks. Although that might be something that everyone does, it is not necessarily ideal because, like I said, body mass reduction does not just include body fat, but it also includes fluid and muscle mass. Some of you might be surprised to know that you are not exactly reducing the fat in your body, but you're actually reducing the amount of muscle mass that you have, or your body is or the scale is showing a reduction in weight just because you have less fluids in your body. So if you don't lose body weight, what do you actually lose? Well, for starters, you should be aiming to lose body fat. This is because body fat is the one that is dangerous and can cause diseases in the future, and that is the one that you should be aiming to reduce. And bear in mind, just because you are losing fat, that does not mean you cannot increase in weight, which we will talk about later, but just keep that in mind for now. So how do you measure if you have been losing body fat or not if you can't measure that on the scale, since the scale only shows you whether or not you have lost weight? So what you can do is you can use skin calipers. So there are digital ones and also manual ones. Digital skin calipers are basically skin calipers that will show you the reading of your body fat percentage immediately after you have taken the reading on your body. Whereas the manual one will require you to do some calculations afterwards. But if you do not want to use the digital one and you opt for the manual one, you can always go through the Jackson and Pollock's method to determine how much of body fat percentage you have. So the next thing to bear in mind is that the BMI reading, which most people use, is actually not accurate. So take this example. Someone who is weightlifting and has a lot of muscle, even though they are not very tall, they might have a huge amount of body mass because they have a lot of muscle. But that does not necessarily mean that their BMI is dangerous, even though it shows that they belong on the much heavier scale. Because someone with higher body mass could have a relatively low body fat percentage but still be heavy, but that does not put them in the obese category as the BMI would. So a BMI is also a non-accurate method to use while measuring your body fat percentage. And if you do want to measure your body fat percentage, the most accurate way would be to use the skin calipers. So now let's talk about why is it so dangerous to lose weight instead of losing fat. So like I mentioned before, losing weight also can include losing muscle mass and losing fluids in your body. You definitely do not want to lose muscle mass and fluids for the following reasons. Number one, you do not want to lose muscle mass because muscle mass plays an important role in maintaining healthy blood sugar levels and also maintaining healthy fat levels in the body. A good muscle mass in your body at a young age will also make sure that you are prevented from diseases in the near future. Other benefits that come with having a good amount of muscle mass is that you tend to burn calories quicker. This is because muscles in the long run have a higher resting metabolic rate, which means that you will burn more calories even when you rest. And this is why weight training is also considered more favorable when trying to burn fat compared to cardio training. And we'll talk about that in detail later in the video. People with chronic diseases such as diabetes tend to have a higher fat to muscle ratio, which only goes on to prove that with a less amount of muscle mass in your body, you are susceptible to so many diseases and also so many muscle related diseases later on in life. As for the fluid loss in your body, this can cause metabolic processes in your body to slow down because most of your cells function when there is an adequate amount of fluid in your body. So when there is less fluid, biochemical processes will slow down, which then unintentionally will slow down the amount of fat you burn as your metabolic processes will slow down. So now let's talk about how to maintain muscle mass while losing fat. So the first thing that you can do is eat lots of protein. So generally you will want to aim for about 1 gram of protein per pound body weight. This will make sure that you have adequate protein while trying to lose fat. And this will also help you maintain your muscle mass, as when maintaining muscle mass will help regulate the fluids in your body. It will give you a good immune health, and it will also make sure that you are able to build muscle all while losing fat. So make sure you do not miss out on the benefits by not having adequate protein in your body, because that will only reap you from all the muscle and all the muscle you can gain and all the fat that you can lose. Now, the second way that you can maintain muscle mass while losing fat is by exercising. And by no doubt, you knew this was coming because this plays one of the most important roles when it comes to fat loss. So, what can you do in exercise that will make fat loss more efficient while maintaining muscle mass? So, the first thing that you want to realize is that when it comes to losing fat, building muscle is going to be your best friend. So, basically, when you do weight training, your muscles tend to grow, and then muscles, compared to any other tissue, have a higher resting metabolic rate. So what is a higher resting metabolic rate? A resting metabolic rate is basically the ability of your muscles to burn calories while you're at rest. And since muscles have the highest resting metabolic rate, this means that even at rest, when you have more muscle, you will tend to burn more calories. And this is why you should always incorporate weight training into your workouts when you're trying to lose fat. Of course, when compared to cardio, in the moment, cardio will definitely help you burn more calories. But over the long term, if you do not do any weight training exercises, you will not be able to sustain the fat loss, and this will only cause you to have to do more and more cardio every time. So make sure to incorporate both cardio and weight training into your workouts to reap the most benefits out of it. So the third way you can maintain muscle mass while losing fat is by going on a reduced caloric diet. So basically what you want to do in a reduced caloric diet is you want to cut your calories by 500 to 600 calories a day so that you lose fat while maintaining muscle mass. But what you should make sure during this period is that you're eating nutrient-dense foods so that it keeps you fuller for longer periods of time and you do not nibble on junk food. Because if you're going to eat food that doesn't provide you good nutrition, you're only robbing yourself of all the benefits that you can have. So make sure that you eat nutrient-dense food so that your body gets all the proper nutrients that it needs so that you don't lose muscle mass in the process. And also make sure that you don't go on a yo-yo diet where you're dieting for 12 weeks and then you binge eat for the next 12 and then you diet again, because that is only going to prove to be very harmful for you in the long term. Instead, eat foods that you really like, but make sure that they are nutritious enough that you can continue eating them for the rest of your life or for at least a year or so before you plan to change your diet plan. And also, if you want to know how to fast properly without having to starve yourself, you check out my intermittent fasting video right here that is 101 for beginners. And last but not least, just remember that just because you are not losing weight, it does not mean you are not losing fat. If you are losing fat and you're building muscle at the same time, and the amount of fat you lose and the amount of muscle that you gain is the same, then your body weight is going to maintain. But that does not mean you are not losing fat. You are just gaining muscle that is compensating for the weight. And with that, guys, we have reached the end of this video. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, comment on what you would like to watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.